Evening, merry drinkers. Welcome back. Short video today. We're going to be looking at another 300 beers before you die. Right, I'm getting through these. I'll be 6 foot under before we probably get around to it. But it's a fairly local one to me. So we're looking at a Hicks special draft. This is a best bitter. It's by St Austell Brewery, who are based way down in Cornwall, in the foot of England. St Austell's quite a small town, so the actual brewery is a massive employer in and around there. Their main beer is called Tribute. I think that does about 80% worth of their beers. This Hicks is named after the original founder of the brewery. We should have a quick butcher's, as why it should be a beer to try before you die. So St Austell, HSD, stands officially for Hicks Special Draught, named in honour of the founder of the brewery, Walter Hicks. But to legions of West Country drinkers, the beer is known affectionately, if somewhat alarmingly, as High Speed Diesel, which is a great name for a beer. I think as a best it's 5%, so it's proper up there if you're having a few of these on a session. Hicks founded the brewery in 1851, and its current site is built from a mellow Cornish stone, and it's run by Hicks descendants, with his great-great-grandson James Staunton at the helm. St Austell is a powerful presence in Cornwall, one of the county's biggest employers, as I just said. It owns 150 pubs and has an extensive free trade. In recent years, both the brewery and its products have been overhauled, and distribution expanded into Devon and Somerset and Dorset, where I live, and an attractive visitor centre has been added. And production takes place in a superb brewhouse and fermenting area with traditional copper and wooden vessels. A Celtic beer festival is staged every winter in the brewer's extensive cellars, with beers and ciders from other producers in the region. HSD is brewed with Maris Otter pale and crystal malts and roasted barley, hopped with whole flowers of Fuggles and Goldings, which gives it a total bitterness units of 30. So, going to be pretty sweet with a mild bitterness on the end, I'd imagine. It should provide a biscuity, malty aroma with sultana fruit and floral spicy hops. A digestive biscuit maltiness and ripe fruits fill the mouth with a solid underpinning of bitter hop resins. The deep finish has ripe fruit and malt, but the initial sweetness is offset by a firm undercurrent of lingering hop resins. I've tried a few of these before. I've popped a bottle up to Don's Beer Reviews. I think I've also sent one to Mr. B's Home Brews and Beer Reviews to try out. I'm quite a big fan of St Austell. I mean, one of the main issues with Cornwall is because it's so tucked down. I mean, it's a country in itself, if you speak to one of the residents there. But it's very seasonal. It's where English people tend to go on holiday in the summer, where they've probably got to maximise production. So Tribute is churning out as well as HSD. And then in the winter, when everyone tends to stay at home, less demand for the brewery. So I'm glad it's expanding. And oddly, I suppose from a British history standpoint, although it was set up by Walter Hicks, it was massively expanded by his daughter, Hester Parnell, in the early 1900s. She added nearly 80 pubs and hotels to the brewery holdings when she was in charge. I think her husband had passed away around the same time that her father did. And they got a rather nice memorial to her, which said that she ruled the company with the grace of a duchess, combined with the aplomb of a successful businessman. Obviously put St Austell Brewery on the map, and HSD is still knocking around today. I know they've further expanded into Somerset. They bought Bath Ales a few years ago. So they're just trying to move away from that seasonality of being down in Cornwall and become a proper UK brewer. Tribute is very good, but not in the books. It's HSD instead. 5%. It's bottle conditioned, so there might be a little bit of yeast knocking around in the background somewhere. Just mentions on the back of the bottle it's named after Walter Hicks. Contains malted barley, rye, hops and yeast. It says Fuggles in the book. I'm wondering if maybe they might use Progress these days because it's same thing but a little bit cheaper. This was about £2 from Waitrose down the roads. Brewed in the UK, best before end February 2026. So it's got a good. It's probably quite freshly bottled. I'd imagine they give it about a year. Let's pop it into a glass. See what we reckon. Little St Austell castle cap. Classic English pint glass, courtesy of Mr. B. That's it's got quite a coppery colour. I'll leave a little bit behind before I get my nose in it. I'll leave a little bit behind before I get my nose in it. Well, it's a lovely coppery colour. There's a nice little, there's definitely a toffee edge to the top of that, which is quite nice. I think both Fuggins and Goldings are sort of earthy, quite floral hops. There must be the combination of that tiny little bit of crystal malt in there, which is giving it a nice little toffee edge to it. Maybe the teensy little bit of like an orange blossom, orange flower on the end of it. I'll top it up with the rest. I do like the yeast to go into mine, so appreciate its brewer's discretion, but that's going in there. That looks an absolutely cracking pint. Let's give it a go. Cheers. Sweet hit on the part of the tongue, getting all that multi flavour. Marisotto has like a lovely rich sweetness. This is slightly watered down, but it's a lovely sweet hit. Don't get too much of that orange. That's definitely on the smell. It's like a sweet caramelly, not too thick sweetness taste on the front. Medium to light bodied in the mouth, very drinkable. It's bottle conditioned, so there's a slight bit of fizz to that. Obviously, just in case you're not aware, a bottle conditioned beer will have an extra bit of sugar and yeast left in there. I imagine on cask it might be about 4.5%, but in the bottle it's left to brew away for a little bit more. And it's just generated a bit of carbon dioxide in the bottle whilst the alcohol's been ticked up. But that sweetness, as soon as you swallow down, has a lovely lingering bitterness. I get that biscuity malt that they were on about. It's a biscuity bitterness as you go down, and so it's slightly drying. And with all beers that are slightly drying, it just makes you want to go and have to drink a little bit more. That as a pint, always enjoyed it. Didn't know too much of the history behind it, but yeah, high speed diesel I can definitely get on board with. That would be a classic session beer, supping back in the pub. For 300 beers before you die, I don't quite think it's in the same realm as ESB by Fuller's. I think we gave 3.62. It's probably a couple of notches down. Different beer to the Franziskaner, which has got all that wheaty banana in, but probably in around a similar score of around 3.3, 3.4. I don't know if I'll keep all of those numbers in my head. Might have to start putting together a bit of a league table. But I can definitely see why it's on the list. So St Austell, quite regional, but working its way up from the foot of England up to the rest of the country. And if you do come on holiday down this way, HSD or a tribute, well worth getting in your belly. Cheers.